What's up, weary travelers of a galaxy far, far away, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering something new, where we take a lot of the major Star Wars stories that dropped over the course of a week or so and condense them into one video. A video that is intended to keep you guys as up to date on a galaxy far, far away as possible. So if you like this format of video, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below and like it as well. Before we get into it, in anticipation of Black Friday, everything on the merch page in the description down below is 15 to half off. So if you want to get yourself some Star Wars merchandise for you or a loved one this Christmas season, now is the time to do it as the sales continue. With that out of the way, let's get into a lot of the massive stories that dropped over the course of the last week revolving around Star Wars. We have 4 or 5 really big ones actually. The first of which has to do with the Ahsoka Tano series. The Ahsoka series is aiming for a filming of March 2022 through fall of 2022, obviously meaning they're going to begin production this spring, the same time that Obi-Wan Kenobi is slated to be released on Disney+. Although the start of production may not seem like a big deal initially, this does actually give us great indication on when we can expect the show itself to be released, which will likely be around a year after this in spring of 2023, therefore confirming what we had all previously speculated, that Ahsoka would in fact be premiering in 2023. And it's great to see that the series is finally moving ahead. Along with this, we also have casting for the Ahsoka series, with Natasha Liu being cast as Sabine Wren. We already have our Ezra Bridger and our Thrawn, so it just makes sense that Sabine would appear. For those of you that are unaware, the Ahsoka series was actually transitioned from a story that was meant to be the next season or next series to Star Wars Rebels, but they decided not to move ahead with the sequel series to Star Wars Rebels being animated, instead taking the major plot points from that series and that season and converting it over to the Ahsoka series, the first season that is, with the hunt for Ezra and Thrawn being the primary driving force behind the story of the Ahsoka Tano show, and the Ahsoka series very much serving as a sort of sequel to the Rebels series more so than anything else. Recently in an interview, Dave Filoni himself actually talked about writing the Ahsoka series, as of course he's returning as he's the creator of Ahsoka, along with obviously George Lucas. Dave Filoni said this: "It's thrilling, I gotta tell you. I thought of this adventure for Ahsoka a long time ago, and it's interesting to see how it's evolved." This is obviously a story that Dave Filoni has wanted to tell for a very long time, and when he talks about it evolving, I'm sure he means from animation to the transition over to live action. But let's go ahead and move away from Disney Plus for a second and talk about the release of a brand new Star Wars novel. That novel being Star Wars Brotherhood, which will detail a story that I've highly anticipated now for years and want more backstory behind. That being the relationship between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, as this will follow Anakin Skywalker as a Jedi Padawan under Kenobi, and the events presumably just before Attack of the Clones, getting to explore the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, especially at this point in their lives. The book will be coming out May 10th, 2022, which could also indicate the release schedule for Kenobi, with the relationship of Anakin and Obi-Wan again being a major driving force of the Kenobi show, which would make sense why they would want to release a book to tie in with it. If you want to stay up to date on everything Brotherhood, be sure to subscribe to the channel as we'll be covering it in depth along with Kenobi. Speaking about Kenobi, Kathleen Kennedy actually had some comments about what it was like getting Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back together after the Star Wars prequels, with this being her quote: "I was surprised just how incredibly emotional it was for each of them to find themselves back in these roles, and just realizing how important Star Wars was to each of them." Kenobi is currently rumored to release sometime in spring of 2022, with the trailer for Kenobi imminent. In the same interview with Kathleen Kennedy is where our next story begins, talking about specifically characters from the sequel trilogy, who ever since The Rise of Skywalker's release back in 2019 have been shelved for the moment, with Lucasfilm deciding to focus on other characters stemming from the Mandalorian and the prequel era, something that fans have generally been pretty happy about, which is what prompted the interviewer to ask Kathleen Kennedy this question, asking if we would ever see the characters from the sequel trilogy ever again, to which Kathleen Kennedy said this: "Certainly, those are not characters we're going to forget, they will live on, and those are conversations that are going on with the creative team as well as we speak." Well, what exactly does this mean? To me, this sounds like a very much roundabout answer from Kathleen Kennedy, and it's clear that Lucasfilm is focusing on the Mandalorian and the prequel era stories, which is what I think that they should be doing. Those are areas of Star Wars that have been neglected now for several years, not obviously talking about the Mandalorian, more so the prequels, and it's a good idea for Lucasfilm to sort of avert the fans' gaze over there for the time being, and then bring back back the sequel trilogy characters later down the line. In my humble opinion, this is a good move. Along with this though, directly links into our next story revolving around Adam Driver, who's been doing a press tour for his new movie House of Gucci. In an interview, Adam Driver, who is obviously Kylo Ren, was asked about if he would ever return to a galaxy far, far away as Kylo Ren, to which he said this: "I'm totally not against it. For me, it's a filmmaker's medium, so my only thing is working with great filmmakers." This is a great answer, and I think that I speak for many when I say that Kylo Ren is one of the best aspects of the sequel trilogy and most complex characters, and to see him return would be an absolute treat. A lot of the other actors behind the sequel trilogy have talked about them not returning to Star Wars, with people like John Boyega being very hesitant, along with Daisy Ridley, who said that she felt a lot of the love was lost after The Last Jedi. It's clear though that Adam Driver would certainly be open to it. And one of our biggest stories revolves around Patty Jenkins, who of course recently stepped away from Rogue Squadron as that film was put on hold. Puck News said this: "Top filmmakers are dying to make Star Wars movies until they sign on and experience the micromanagement and plot-by-plot committee process. Jenkins wasn't willing to dick around with this." We knew that this is something that Lucasfilm has struggled with for some time, especially after the events of The Last Jedi, where micromanaging was very much not the issue. And it's clear that even though they would never say it, this struck a lot of fear in their hearts. And we're still now feeling the repercussions to The Last Jedi to this very day. Something I would love to hear your thoughts about in the comments down below. And finally, our last story has to do with another cancellation, that being Rangers of the New Republic, which last we heard was placed on hold. However, now Kathleen Kennedy has officially announced that Rangers of the New Republic has been officially cancelled, and we will never see this series, something that we all already suspected. Anyway guys, that's pretty much all the news that we have besides some Book of Boba Fett stills, which I'll put on screen now. What are your thoughts on this big update and all of the stories revolving around Lucasfilm at this point in time and the future of Star Wars? Do you like this video where we sort of condense all of the news into one big video? Obviously, if we have major announcements down the line, we'll make their own individual videos, but for a lot of these medium anticipation stories, I wanted to cram them into this video so you guys can get all the information and stay as up to date as possible. Again guys, don't forget the Black Friday sale, link in the description down below to the merch page. May the Force be with you, and I hope to see you in the next one.